Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we unpack a political moment that's shaking the very foundation of South Africa's ruling party, the African National Congress. During what was meant to be a routine political engagement, ANC National Chairperson Gwede Mantashe found himself drowned out by the very people his party was addressing. The angry community didn't hold back, shouting him down in frustration, and forcing what should have been a display of political confidence into a public embarrassment. But this isn't just about one politician being heckled. It's a reflection of something deeper: years of broken promises, widespread corruption, collapsed infrastructure, and a growing chasm between government elites and struggling citizens. It's a powerful symbol of just how far public trust in the ANC has eroded, especially among poor and working-class communities. So in this video, we are digging deeper. What exactly happened? Why are ordinary people losing patience with the ANC? And what does this mean for the 2026 national elections? Let's start with the moment itself. At a recent ANC event meant to connect with voters in a township plagued by service delivery failures, Mantashe was met not with applause, but with outrage. Residents, many of whom have lived without reliable electricity, clean water, or safe housing, interrupted his speech, chanting angrily and demanding real answers. For some, it was a spontaneous outcry. For others, it was a calculated rejection of what they saw as yet another politician showing up to campaign while their communities remain in ruin. Witnesses described scenes of intense emotion, people raising their voices about sewage running through their streets, children going to school hungry, and elders living without health care. And yet, what hit hardest was not just the volume of the protest, but the moral clarity of it. People were saying, "Enough is enough." Now, let's talk about why this matters. The ANC, once hailed as the liberator of South Africa, is increasingly being seen by many as a party that has become disconnected from the struggles of everyday people. Despite having held power since 1994, the party is now being accused, openly and vocally, of entrenching inequality rather than dismantling it. In township after township, residents are fed up with waiting for promises that never materialize. Whether it's housing developments left incomplete, hospitals that lack medicine, or entire areas without functioning sewage systems, the frustrations are real and growing louder by the day. And for many communities, it's not just the failure of government delivery, but the feeling that leaders like Mantashe show up only during elections, only to vanish again until the next campaign season. We also need to place this in the wider political context. South Africa is heading towards what could be the most unpredictable election in its democratic history. The 2021 local government elections saw the ANC fall below 50% nationally for the first time ever. That trend could continue in 2026, especially if the party continues to face open resistance in places it once dominated. Opposition parties like the Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, Action SA, and the Democratic Alliance, DA, have all taken note. Julius Malema and the EFF have been especially vocal, accusing the ANC of betraying the revolution and becoming a gatekeeper of poverty. Action SA, led by Herman Mashaba, is building support among urban voters disillusioned with both the ANC and DA. And new political formations, like Jacob Zuma's MK Party, are gaining ground, particularly in provinces like KwaZulu-Natal, where anti-ANC sentiment is strongest. This is where Mantashe's moment becomes significant. The heckling wasn't random. It was a signpost in a long road of growing resistance to ANC authority. And that resistance is no longer coming from elite analysts or rival politicians. It's coming from grandmothers who can't get their pension payments, from students who study by candlelight, from unemployed youth who have never had access to opportunity. But let's also talk about the ANC's response. Historically, the party has tried to brush off public protests as being isolated incidents, or even as being orchestrated by opposition forces. But that explanation is beginning to wear thin. The sheer frequency of these disruptions, and the diversity of communities expressing outrage, suggest this is not a fringe problem. It's mainstream dissatisfaction. Some in the ANC have acknowledged this. President Cyril Ramaphosa himself has admitted that corruption, cadre deployment, and poor municipal governance have alienated voters. But admissions mean nothing without action. Communities want accountability. They want criminal investigations into municipal looting to result in jail time. They want qualified, ethical people managing service delivery. And they want leaders who don't just campaign in the dust of broken promises. Let's pause and ask a tough question: can the ANC still recover? In truth, it's not impossible. The ANC still has deep roots across South Africa, and in some areas, especially rural provinces, it remains dominant. The party's liberation legacy still holds emotional weight for many older voters. And with the right reforms, leadership shake-ups, and authentic grassroots engagement, a turnaround is theoretically possible. But time is running out. Younger voters, the so-called born-free generation, are increasingly disillusioned with all traditional parties. Voter turnout among the youth has been dropping, and many now view politics as a hollow game. If the ANC fails to engage with this demographic meaningfully, it risks becoming politically irrelevant, even if it clings to power through coalitions or regional strongholds. So, where do we go from here? The heckling of Gwede Mantashe wasn't just a disruption. It was a message. A demand. A line in the sand. Communities are no longer whispering their dissatisfaction. They're shouting it, on camera, in the streets, and at political events. And the days when party loyalty could silence that outrage are over. South Africans are waking up to their own power. Civic organizations, youth movements, and watchdog groups are pushing harder than ever for accountability. Protests are more organized, more consistent, and more visible. The political monopoly the ANC once enjoyed is breaking, and if the party doesn't adapt quickly, it could find itself on the wrong side of history. This is not just a story about Mantashe. It's about a country trying to find a new path forward, one that's not defined by struggle credentials but by results, fairness, and truth. Thanks for watching. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with others who care about South Africa's future. And most importantly, let us know in the comments, do you think the ANC can still turn things around? Or are we witnessing the beginning of a new era in South African politics? See you next time.